Good evening, Leroy.
Hello,
Happy Wednesday.
hello.
How are you doing?
I am all right. It's been a very interesting week. I joke that you can tell that somebody's from the Midwest. So yesterday I had to cover a train coming to town, and the whole town shut down for this train that's coming that went nearby, like about 15 miles south of us. The biggest train that's still in use came through. So we all went down to go see this train and go take that. And I'm telling you, like I joke, but like it's one of those trains where you would be like, where as a guy, you'd just be like, hell yeah. That's the kind of train this was. It's just one of those things where, like, even if you aren't a train guy, it was
Was
just
it
a massive. The name of it was Big Boy,
not Thomas
not
or
Thomas. No,
James or
no.
Henry or
Percy
what's the
wasn't.
thing when you were a kid?
Nah, yeah, but Ringo was like the now like George Carlin did it for a while, but like Ringo was the very first guy to do it.
See, it's so weird. My comment is broken. I
Is it
can't.
broken again?
I don't know. It
Oh,
just like
hang on that.
Justin, your this comment it works fine, but that other one it just look. I mean, you
But
see
what's
me.
the
I'm
thing?
clicking.
What's
I'm
the thing
clicking. It
for
just doesn't seem to work.
what's the thing, Sam, for you that as and I know Kentucky is not really the Midwest, but what's the thing that you would do in Kentucky that nobody else? Because I know there's a few things
The
that you
Kentucky
would do in
Derby,
that
horse
nobody
racing.
outside of Kentucky would understand.
Horse racing,
Right, horse.
bourbon. I know people can. Yeah, and John's right. You know, Justin had been in this show for what, like 6 months, and he pops in as soon as he could talk crap to one
Yes.
of us. Gosh darn it.
Yes.
Speaking of talking crap, though, Leroy, how about we jump into a quick recap of our pick contest from last week, where, you know what? And by talk crap, I mean no one has the reason to talk crap because we were all pretty bad last week. And
Oh, I
speaking of
got you. Dan.
speaking of showing up,
There, Dan.
Dan
Yeah.
hadn't been here in weeks either. But to recap, Grayson County traveled to McLean County. America, in fact, actually, I didn't give America credit here. So America did a little bit better than I thought. But America went with Grayson County. Leroy went with the other Cougars of McLean County. And Grayson County said, Leroy, read that. Grayson
You're
County picked up the big
welcome.
win, 14-6 on the road. I
The big
predicted
win. No, 1-8. Shut up.
no that the team hadn't lost at home in 3 years, so it was a big win.
Really?
Yeah, big win for the Cougs.
There you go.
Taylorville traveled to Robinson. I very smartly, Leroy, predicted Robinson to win. I know, and they were one play away. One play, right?
One
Right?
play away. Taylorville defense looked really good. Taylorville shut them out 34-0, including
Yeah.
one of the most bizarre safeties I've ever seen in my life.
See, we had a near. Let's come back to that because I want to talk about safeties here after this. Justin, I agree. I agree. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, later on in the show. We all predicted Kentucky to beat South Carolina. Good job, guys. Did real well there. I smartly decided to pick Northwestern to beat Duke. And listen, Leroy, I thought I was going to be right. I thought I was going to be right. You okay? We'll come back to it. Let's come back to it here. You okay?
Yeah.
Do you need a minute?
Let's go. Nope, let's go.
Duke won. Leroy, you predicted that, and so did America. Something happened in Cincinnati. We don't need to talk about that. America went with the Titans against the Bears, and for a while it looked like they were right. Caleb Williams looked okay. We'll come back to that a little bit better about Caleb Williams. Leroy, we both picked the Bears. SMU and BYU. Leroy, we went with SMU, and it was BYU that won. America got the point there. America went with NC State to defeat Tennessee. They did not. Leroy, we were both right there. And we all three were smart in predicting Texas to defeat Michigan, and it was not close. So the results from last week, Leroy and myself got 5. America, you came away with 4, so that will continue the overall standings. Leroy still leads 14-13-10. So it is very close here. Week 4 of the pick contest will happen at the end of the show today.
Don't go anywhere because we got picks at the very end of the show.
Yeah, Caleb, it's all your fault that America messed up last week with only 4 points in predicting that. A couple of the games that you get to look at to pick, I guess America is going to be predicting the Taylorville-Columbia game.
It's homecoming week.
Ooh, interesting. We get Kentucky and Georgia, Northwestern against their arch rival Eastern Illinois, the 100 Miles of Hate, Bengals Chiefs, Bears Texans. We got a lot of good games to predict.
Really good matchups. Really good matchups.
How about we go high school, college, NFL to talk here?
That's fine.
Because safeties, it's interesting. You said you had an interesting safety in your game.
We did. So the Taylorville jumped out to a 7-0 lead pretty quickly. After the defense made go 3 and out. We then punted and they got the ball at the 2-yard line. So quarterback for Robinson went back to throw, realized that the defense had already gotten on top of him. So he takes the ball and throws it to his left, to the wide receiver to the left. The wide receiver gets it, who also has like 3 guys chasing after him. So he runs back the other way, pitches it underhanded to another guy who was like in the midst of like 5 Taylorville players who just threw him down. So like 3 pitches or 3 movements, and they couldn't get out of the end zone at all. That's what caused the safety. But it was a very bizarre play to call over the air because like you expected them to break through at some point, and it never happened.
I know in Grayson County's game, they were up 14-6, about 5 or 6 minutes left. McLean County has the ball. They run a jet sweep, and the kid's coming downhill. Grayson County's linebacker busts through the middle of the line and tackles him. And he was in the end zone. But they called him down at the half-yard line. And next play, McLean runs a trick play, 40 yards up the sideline. They get it. And luckily, Grayson County's defense stopped, but that would have been the talk is if they would have gone down and scored, and we would have went to overtime because it was. You went back and watched the replay, and they missed the call. But hey, that's part of the game as well. College on Friday night, Northwestern, they took on Duke at the the lake side.
They got some stupid
it's weird
for it. Northwestern Medicine. It's all sponsor name stupid crap. Regardless, the lakefront. Mm-hmm. That's what we've all been calling it, the lakefront.
I got home late from our game. I don't even remember what time it was. And I remember I checked to say, hey, because I was going to eat some dinner. I was like, is there any games on? And I popped it on. It was Northwestern was still playing. I was like, well, I'm surprised. I would have thought that game would have been over by now. So I said, you know what? Let's watch Northwestern. And it turned out to be quite entertaining, the very end of the game. Because I saw, for the most part, when the fumble that you're getting ready to talk about happened, I was making my dinner. So I heard it, but I didn't see it. And then I got to watch all of overtime.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's on YouTube, but if you get a chance, you want to go see a crazy play, go watch this fumble. Northwestern recovered a fumble. They then ruled that the guy was down, but like he was on top of another player. I don't know how you can be down when you're laying on top of like a Northwestern player. And like the announcers were even like, oh, this is going to be Northwestern ball. They're talking about what Northwestern's going to do when they get the ball back and how they finally beat Duke and everything. And then they come back and they're like, nope, we ruled it's not. And like, it's very bizarre when every single person is saying like, it's going to be overturned. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And then the referees do the absolute opposite. Because I was listening to it originally on the radio. So on the radio, when you're listening to it, you can't really see it. I watched it later to see what had happened. But like, when all you're hearing is it's going to be overturned, you don't even think about the fact that, hey, it might not be. So there's a little bit of, so it's one of those things. I was sitting in my car like, what? But yeah, I went back and watched it, and I'm telling you, I still watch it now, and I'm like, that shouldn't have been overturned. So, but double overtime, and the Northwestern's lost to Duke 6 straight times.
Yeah, I was feeling good, and then they let me down.
So irritating.
We don't need to talk about the
But
Kentucky game.
we're switching our quarterback. Slouch is starting this week. So
Not
if that
like
tells you, if that
Mike
tells
Wright.
you,
Interesting. We don't need to talk about the Kentucky game. There's nothing to talk about.
nothing to say about
Nope.
your
Nope.
beatdown. Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Nope. Nothing to say. It was ugly. It was ugly. It was embarrassing. I mean, it just like South Carolina's like if you would have told me
games like that though, Sam, don't you hate games where like your team can play better and it's just ugh.
It was one of the most embarrassing losses in Kentucky football in a long time. Because that South Carolina team is not that much better than Kentucky, if not at all. And right on cue, speaking of things that suck, Paul Reeves comes in to drop Caleb Williams sucks the end. And we're done talking about the Kentucky game. Let's talk about Caleb Williams.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, because I'm not giving Paul the dignity to even do that. I actually want to ask about the slate of games from this week, because, and maybe it's just me watching awful football. You watched a whole lot more games than I did this weekend, but didn't the product seem worse? I know it's week 1, but football in general seemed pretty awful on Sunday. Like, it just didn't seem like none of the teams seemed like they were locked in or that they were ready to go. It seemed like an awful lot of bad football. Would you agree, or is that
I only watched one game on Sunday because I was traveling for the other one. And I kind of agree with what Paul said here. It's week 1. Got to get in the groove. Everything's a little different. You don't really have tape on the other teams because preseason tape doesn't really count. There were some good games. Like Colts Texans was a pretty good game as well. So I don't know.
Was it a good game or was it a close game? Because there's a difference between a good game and a close game of football.
That is accurate, because there was a game that was close.
The Rams-Lions game was close, but that was an awful football game.
The Titans and the Bears was not a great football game.
Was a close game. That was an awful football game.
Yes. Will Levis did not play well. Paul says it was good. John says it was good. Paul says he watched them all as well.
Of course he did.
But I am just, I don't know. I mean, you can. I think the one thing is I like that Dan is using explicit on nuts. Like Stroud
wait.
is nuts all over the
culture. His nits?
I don't, nets maybe?
Nets. He dragged his nets all over the Colts. Got it.
But I think the biggest thing that comes away with week 1 of the NFL, and it's week 1, it's the same thing with opening day in baseball and opening week in NBA, is the overreactions.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that. So the overreactions from week.
Yeah, because it's I mean, and the one of the obvious ones, of course, is Caleb Williams. I mean, like number 1 overall pick in his first game, he wasn't great.
And what did I say to you was my goal for him coming into week 1? What did I say? What did I want?
To not throw an interception in the fourth quarter, right?
Correct. That was my only goal for Caleb Williams. He didn't throw an interception all game.
Mm-hmm.
He game managed well. I'm going to say that again because Paul's a Paul, but he game managed well. He did not put that team into a situation where he gave them a situation to lose. He didn't put them in a position to lose. He did what he needed to do, got a 2-point conversion. I don't care about yardage. He got the win. You can sit there and say he sucked all day long, and he will be the first to tell you that he sucked.
Did he look good?
Paul, he could throw 400 yards, and you'd say he looked horrible.
Did he look good?
You just don't like him, and I'm not taking your points fairly because, Paul, you've been critical of him since day 1.
That's why I'm asking you.
I'm not
Did he look good?
Paul's saying. For me, no. And listen, Caleb will be the first to say he looked horrible. He said over and over again, I have to get better. But most of the mistakes that he made are fixable. This isn't a Justin Fields situation where he's throwing picks and he's putting the team in a situation where he's not going through his reads and he's taking off running. I did like, however, like the Titans coach saying that if they punted on first down, they would have won the game. I did like that. That was pretty good. But listen, there have been plenty of way worse quarterbacks for the Bears. There's no reason the Bears should have won that game on Sunday. Yes, special teams carried them. Special teams and defense won that game for Chicago. Look, Rex Grossman didn't do shit for the Bears.
Language. This is a family show, Leroy. This is a family show.
Rex Grossman didn't do a thing for the Bears. Bears defense got into a Super Bowl, and you can't take that away. If this is the worst that we see from Caleb Williams, now a big test on Sunday, with the Texans. If he goes out there and he plays horrible again, then we can start having a conversation. But almost every single mistake that he made on Sunday is a teachable, fixable mistake. It's not like he's not going through his progressions, which is an issue we have with Justin Fields, where he would look at one receiver and take off running.
Especially because on Sunday is Sunday Night Football. Like that adds to it. You're going to have, that'll be the first time that truly everybody has gotten to see Caleb Williams play in an NFL team.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't watch any of the game on Sunday because I was obviously
defense. What's the Texans defense ranked at?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good defense. It's a pretty solid defense. I wouldn't say they're one of the best, but you got Danielle Hunter on that defense that they've added as well. But it'll be interesting. That will be huge because this conversation in a week could be very interesting.
If Caleb comes out and plays horrible again, then we can start having conversations about whether or not the game is too big for him. But in week one, where you have nerves and you haven't played against actual real NFL defenses, I don't necessarily have a problem because he did not put that team in a position to lose. He didn't put him in a position to win, but he threw the 2-point conversion, which was absolutely needed. He threw the 2-point conversion that was absolutely needed, and he did just enough to put them in a position to win.
To play devil's advocate for you, I'm not taking any sides. I am Switzerland in this scenario. But your point there of he didn't do anything to lose, but didn't do anything to win. Is that acceptable for the number 1 overall pick?
For week 1, yes. He cannot sustain that.
Why was DeAndre Swift, and I quote, buns, though?
What do you want from me? I wasn't out there.
Was he buns?
I don't know. Listen. I didn't like any of the play calling from the offense in that game at all. It reminded me of Luke Getsy, honestly. It reminded me way too much of Luke Getsy. There's way too many safe screenplays.
Apparently, you're the new running back for the Bears.
I'm too short.
How many runs do you have in you?
John, no, he did not. If he threw an interception or fumbled the ball, yes. But again, he just didn't do anything. He didn't do anything good or anything bad. He was just there.
If we put you,
right.
This is not
going to go anywhere. So let's just move on.
If you started at running back on Sunday night with Caleb Williams, and they had you have one run, doesn't matter what run play, would you gain positive yardage
behind that crappy O-line?
Or would you end up in the hospital?
Oh no, I'd get 4 yards and end up in the hospital.
4 yards? You think you'd run for 4 yards?
4? I could get 4.
No shot. There's no shot. I don't even know that I get 1.
You could get 1, Sam. Are you kidding me?
I don't think.
You're so tall, you could just take 1 step and you get 1 yard.
Yeah, but I just don't think is that I could do it. Caleb says no. -2 at best. Whose offensive line is worse, the Bears or the Giants? Or Kentucky? The answer is Kentucky, because Kentucky's offensive line is awful. Awful. I guess we have to talk about the Bengals. Do we? No, we don't really.
Yes, we do.
No, I think we.
Your quarterback.
Time's up. Time's up. Oh, show's over.
He's picking up wire like me. He's like, I love
Can
how
I be
social
honest?
media just absolutely loses their mind over
Can
the
I be
fact that
honest
he
with you
picked
with
up.
that too? And let me like, I'm taking my Bengals hat off. Did he really pick it up that weird? Because I mean, he did like this. It was on the ground. Like I watched the video of it, and we're talking about Joe Burrow.
I don't know. He was very straight when he picked it. It's like he didn't want to like.
Because it
move
was
his
funny because
wrist at
they
all.
asked him about it today, and they're like, "Did you have you
Well,
heard the
it's on my
controversy?
Leroy. It's on my
Yeah,
tidbits.
yeah. Have you had the controversy with your water bottle?" And he was like, "What? What are you talking about? Like, what?"
He
He's
looked.
like, "Did
He picked
did
it up really effeminately.
well, I mean, listen, he did dump his girlfriend, so I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't care.
Him and Caleb hanging out painting nails after the game.
Listen, Benito Wyborough was looking at his wrist and rubbing it, and he did pick it up using his arm more than his wrist. So everybody's been talking about him going like this a lot, and he's been doing that literally all off season. And the reason for that is it's pretty much what the doctor told him is keep that ligament moving as much as possible. I'm like, that makes sense.
Y'all are
That makes sense.
so.
And that's been something I've actually seen as well from him as well, continuously moving that wrist. But I mean, the biggest aspect for the Bengals is that we've probably talked about it on this show before, is that you have the middle eight of a game. Last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. And in that, on the outer edge, with 5 minutes to go in the first half, the Bengals fumble the ball on the 2-yard line, which turns into points on the other end for the Patriots. And on that drive, they dropped an interception in the red zone, in the end zone. And then they force a 3-and-out to start the second half and fumble the punt return that leads to points on the other end. And there's your reason why the Cincinnati Bengals lost the football, is they had made too many mistakes. Yeah, I've seen Mahomes do that with his wrist too. It's just keeping things loose. Like I don't know that that's.
It was just really, really odd to see him do a Leroy and grab his shoulder and just go up like that and then bring his arm forward. It's like he really did not want to move his hand in a normal way.
Yeah, and see, when I watched, I was like, okay, like I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It just
But
seems
again,
like
I enjoy the overreaction of social media of, oh, we lost the Patriots. I'm not watching another game the rest of the year.
No, it just it happens, and that's where I'm worried that if they lose the Chiefs, it's going to be the same thing that we're going to hear with it all season long. It's just, the overreactions are real. What did you think about? And for one, Paul says he traded Burrow. He is worried. Burrow's not a great fantasy quarterback, so I'm not necessarily that worried if I were you with that. Patriots the Super Bowl. Shut up, John. Nobody's asking you. The Ravens. So I do want to say, and I've talked on this show that I'm not a Lamar guy. I think he is a phenomenal athlete. He's a very, very average passer when it comes to quarterback. He is a phenomenal athlete. But
he had plenty of chances. He had plenty of chances.
And that's what I'm saying in that game against the Chiefs. But then also for him after the game to throw a little hissy fit of sorts and say, well, I thought he was still in bounds.
Bro, that was as blatant as...
Yeah, I mean, was it super, 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 super close? Yeah, it's as close as it's going to get. But at the same time, listen, I didn't want the Chiefs to win. I didn't really want the Ravens to win.
We have that argument.
It was obvious.
I know you don't watch it that much, but we have that argument in hockey all the time where they have the stripe and the puck has to, if you see white in between the puck and that line, it's not a goal. And like, there are times where it gets really, really close. And John and Dan can attest to that. There are times where you watch it and you're like, that's clearly a goal. And then you look at the replay and you're like, oh, there's a whole lot of white right there. That's not in. And it's the same thing. Like, that video footage and the freeze frame on that is blatant. Wear a smaller size shoe, bud.
Yeah. It sucks.
Those feet look like clown feet out there, man.
Yeah, there's no way to put it.
But yeah, it was definitely out.
Yeah, I mean, Flowers drops a pass, but Lamar missed some wide open people. Wide open that if you are a elite quarterback in the NFL, which people say he is, you don't miss throws like that, especially when the game is on the line. Do you have any tidbits?
I do. Let's get to them. We got a few.
Do you want to get our music ready?
Get your music ready.
Are we starting it off with that?
We'll start off with that.
Okay, where is it? Is there our WNBA theme song?
All right, time for tidbits. We're going to start off with the WNBA. Aja Wilson broke the WNBA single season scoring record with her 940th and 941st points on a jumper just before halftime of the Las Vegas Aces game against the Indiana Fever on Wednesday night. Wilson hit a jumper from the free throw line with 26 seconds left to pass the previous mark of 939 points set by Jewel Lloyd in 2023. The Aces two-time league MVP came into the game averaging 27 points, 11.9 rebounds. There are 4 games left of the WNBA season.
Can I say this too here?
Yeah.
He is the most overrated two-time MVP in NFL history.
Zing! 3 days after his detainment by Miami-Dade police officers, Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill said, I probably could have been better in terms of how I handled the situation. Look, we are not going to discuss this situation because we're not political, and we feel that this is going to get political if we start talking about it. But my editorial opinion is that both sides could have handled that situation a whole lot better than what they did.
Speaking of that, Leroy, what did you think of the debate last night? Did you have any takeaways from that?
So, also, Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has denied allegations of sexual assault and battery that were levied in a civil lawsuit filed earlier this week in Texas. His attorney says that Deshaun strongly denies the allegations. We've asked him not to comment further while the matter works its way through the courts. The NFL on Tuesday said it's reviewing the complaint, but added that Watson will not be placed on the commissioner's exempt list because there have not been formal charges and the league's review has just began. Somebody needs to find that man a massage table because he didn't look good at all on Sunday either.
If you're the Browns, you're probably hoping, please be guilty. Please be guilty so we can get out of that contract.
Speaking of feeling guilty, Arizona Cardinals rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. found himself absolutely annoyed and frustrated during Sunday's loss, saying that he could have been used better. The number 4 pick had only 1 catch for 4 yards and 3 targets. Harrison says frustration was largely geared towards how the game was unfolding, his NFL debut not panning out how he had hoped. Well, go call Caleb. I'm sure he's got some tips. Injuries, quite a few injuries in week 1 already. Among them, obviously, fantasy owners freaking out over Christian McCaffrey, who missed week 1, will most likely miss week 2. My
fantasy team. I was up.
Russell Wilson as well.
That is their loss.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I need Fields to start 9 games, so I'm all for it.
The Christian McCaffrey thing, I got a notification because I was up in my fantasy game by like 23 points going into Monday. I had George Kittle, he had Christian McCaffrey. I get that notification. I'm like, hell yeah, win. Homeboy somehow picked up his backup. I was getting worried there at the end. I ended up winning by 5, but I'll tell you this, I was worried.
In Major League Baseball news, Jerry Reinsdorf says the team is unhappy and he is unhappy. He says no one's happy right now with how they are playing. They lost again today. They are currently 5th all time for worst MLB record of modern day era. The Mets have 120 losses, Tigers 119, Athletics 117, Braves and Orioles 115, and the White Sox with 114. They could break the record as early as next Wednesday.
If you were a White Sox fan, would you want them to break the record?
Yes.
Like, wouldn't there get to a point where it's just like...
No, I don't know. As a Cubs fan, I'm all for it.
But let's say it was the Cubs. Let's say it was the Cubs.
If I was a White Sox fan, I don't know if I'd want that notoriety. But the thing is they want.
But at the same time, like there is a level where you just get to the point where it's like, let's just see how bad it can get. Like, let's just go. I'm surprised if this is not on your tidbits, Leroy, because I know who you are.
It's coming. The White Sox again need 6 more losses. They lost again today. They've won. They lost 3 in a row. They've won 2 out of the last 10. They find themselves.
They're on a hot streak.
They find themselves they've lost 3 in a row, but yeah, 51
They've
games
won
out.
2 out of the last 10. They're on fire, Leroy, for the White Sox.
It's crazy because like if you take away the White Sox, the AL Central is really, really good. But due to the fact that the White Sox are in that division, they are the worst division in all of baseball, which is just bizarre to think about. Let's see, what else do we got for you today? For the second time in his last 4 starts, Toronto Blue Jays right-hander Bowden Francis lost a no-hit bid by allowing a leadoff home run in the 9th inning. After working 8 hitless innings against the New York Mets in what turned out to be a 6-2 Mets win, Francis in the top of the 9th allowed a homer off the bat of Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor. Can you imagine pitching 4 times and taking no-hitters all the way in the 9th inning and something happening that they get?
Tom Seaver, I think that he had that happen.
He had something
times.
very similar in the same thing. So the Astros, 3 straight bunts left the Houston Astros in shambles. The Oakland Athletics laid down 3 consecutive bunts to start the top of the 12th inning, scoring 2 runs to break a 2-2 tie and an eventual 4-3 win, preventing the Astros from opening up a larger lead in the American League West. We used to talk about the fact that whether it's bad form, foul play, to bunt when you have a no-hitter. But how about this? Bunting 3 times in a row? Listen, at some point you have to move up, right? Like at some point, like that's on you as defense.
Yeah. No, I mean it's hard to disagree with that. Bunting those still for losers. Well, I guess apparently not in this case though.
All right. NFL news. Which team do you feel, in the comments, I'd like to hear your answers too. Which team should be most worried after week 1?
None of them. I think worrying after week 1 is silly. Because there's still 16 games left to play. I mean, to go 16-1, you got to lose 1 at some point. Right? But in all seriousness, I think overreactions after week 1 are the silliest thing. I mean, should we say just the Panthers? Like, yeah, I mean, Paul said it right on cue. I mean, the Panthers, they got annihilated. But then again, it's not like the Panthers had any real expectations. And I think you have to have expectations. I mean, the Giants saw what Daniel Jones is, but Daniel Jones, I mean, I feel like that's not surprising Giants fans at all.
It was very boo heavy in New York when you threw that pick 6. Speaking of throwing a pick 6, the greatest image from week 1 was Will Levis on his knees with his hands on his head while the play was still going on as the pick 6 happens and the run back happens, because Levis just takes the ball and shovels it out from him.
I feel bad for my guy. Will Levis. Didn't have enough mayo before the game, clearly.
Oh, yeah. Bryce Young looks horrible. There's just not a good thing going on in Carolina. Anyway, that wraps up my tidbits. Ready to move on.
And moving on means it's time for everyone's favorite segment. It is Leroy's Logos. Last week we got 2 out of 4, Leroy, which now brings you to 395. As again, our AI fall continues. And I think actually these are a little easy this week, Leroy. So I think you could get 4 out of 4 this week. Right. Again, it is simple. I have asked AI to recreate college logos. Leroy just has to tell me what school AI is attempting to recreate here. Would you like 1, 2, 3, or 4, Leroy? 2, says Leroy.
The Bengals.
The new logo. What is this new? And remember, Leroy, you do have a cheat as well. So you get 1 logo that I will show you the comments on. That is door number 2, I guess, of this week. And that is the one that you said. John, I'm just going to give you his comment. He said 4. It's not 4, Leroy. I will tell you that.
Well, thank you.
What are you feeling?
Well, it's a tiger. It's a tiger, which means it can be anything from 1 to 6 teams. The orange makes it down to either LSU or Clemson. But I'm going to go with Clemson because it looks like I can see a C in the mouth of the tiger, which means my gut feeling is Clemson, and I've been told by Mr. Sam Gormley to trust my gut, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm going with Clemson as my final answer.
Clemson is his final answer, and he is correct. That is Clemson. Honestly, Leroy, I didn't even notice the C. I don't know if you're reading too far into that.
And that's what I probably was, but
Paul said Clemson, Caleb said Clemson, even John said Clemson. John said that's what Dory should go with. I assumed that that's what you were saying, John, and not expecting him to guess number 4 for the answer for this. Alrighty, would you like 1, 3, or 4?
Well, John wants 4, so we'll go with 4, Sam.
4. Number 4 for Leroy's logos here this week. It's a pretty puppy, isn't it? This is door number 4 of an AI-created logo. Feeling anything?
That's actually not that bad of a logo. Like, honestly,
it's not. AI did a good job.
If that was a real one, like most of the AI logos look almost too good. That one looks perfect. I'll go with.
Just wait.
Go ahead.
I said, just wait.
Oh, great. I'll go with Yukon.
Yukon, final answer.
Yeah, buddy.
That is incorrect. Yukon is incorrect. Caleb said Yukon. Paul said Yukon as well, but that would be the wrong Huskies. Washington, the gold in there, because Washington is purple and gold for them. So Washington is the correct answer for this one. John said Army. That is incorrect for that. Okay, 1 or 3?
1.
1. Number 1 here says Leroy on this. I'm trying to click too many buttons here. Is that purple, though, Caleb says?
Now, see, he's got a weird... This isn't the first time that Sam and I have disagreed on
and listen,
what a blue or what a purple is.
This is me.
Not the first time.
And this is AI. So this is not me.
Right,
this is AI's creation. Number 1, says Leroy.
Oh!
There's a lot going on there. A lot going on there.
Did we not figure out what a Wolverine was or what? Oh my goodness.
The overconfidence from Leroy already off the bat.
Oh.
What would your guess be then? Or is that your guess?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Michigan.
Michigan is his guess. The comment section says... Caleb says he appeals.
I'm with Caleb.
You can appeal all you want.
Yeah.
Do you need to call the AI police? I guess. You all are correct, though. It is Michigan. I don't know who you're appealing to for that. It's Michigan, and now...
What is happening in this picture?
I know, right? It is...
Like we took 3 M's and a W and stacked them all on top of each other.
It's like one woman in the middle of that, too. And your final one for Leroy's logos for this week is this.
The Nahit Slut. I like it.
I mean, everyone's favorite school, Nahit Slat. Nahit Slat. Nahit Slat. Anything coming to you here?
No, I'm going to ask the audience on this one.
Okay, he's going to use his cheat to ask the audience.
My lifeline.
And again...
What are we thinking, Kansas? It looks like a Kansas type deal.
Okay. Paul says, I like this.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Caleb says, his wife says Northwestern, but he says Kansas State.
Ooh, Northwestern. Hey. Gosh, Kansas State too, though.
Doesn't appear that John has anything to help you with. Which is, read into that how you want. Okay.
All right. The N is going to make me pick Northwestern. I'm going to go with Northwestern.
Northwestern.
Yeah.
Northwestern. Right at the end, Paul said Northwestern, maybe. Okay. Would I do that, though?
Sam, that's not fair. You
Correct. That is Northwestern.
Hey, that's not a bad one.
And Leroy, from here on out, we are only going to refer to them as Nahislat.
Nahislat.
Yes. Nahislat. Northwestern Wildcats. So good job, Megan. Good job, Megan, for pulling that out.
Megan, I wasn't even going that direction, so you are my I owe you $1.50 on Venmo or something. That
and I expect you to have a Nahislat jersey or something next show. That is Leroy's logos for this week. 3 out of 4, though, Leroy. Good job. The only one that tripped you up was the Washington one. Play clock here. It's time to ask this. There you go. There's her Venmo.
I got you. I promise you.
Port Northwestern there, and I like that logo. He says, "Pay up."
Hey! I don't need the name calling. I didn't.
I mean, that is a good. It is a good looking logo.
I like it.
It is. Okay. Would you like to ask or answer first?
I will ask first.
Okay.
A lot of discussion on Sunday over preseason and whether or not starters should be playing more. I know I was on some Bengals chat rooms, not chat rooms. It's 2024, but
are we in 2004?
But a lot of the comments.
Did you log in with your AOL?
ASL, man. A lot of Bengals chats on the Houday group were talking about how they were upset that the Bengals starters did not play more during preseason. So once again, I ask you, Sam, the thought of, we do have 3 preseason games. Should starters be playing more than what they are?
So Mick and I actually did an entire episode of our Jungle Juice podcast. And what we did is we looked into the stats behind it because we were both interested. We both had an opinion, but we said, hey, let's actually look at the facts. And what we found is that there is absolutely no correlation between starters that play in the preseason and having a quick start. I mean, 5 teams that used their starters the fewest last year, and I'm going off of memory, in the preseason last season: Lions, Eagles, Bengals, Vikings, and there was one more team. I don't remember what the other team, it was an NFC Cowboys. And you look at that, Eagles started 4-0, Lions started 3-1, Cowboys started 3-1. So there's no correlation between that. I don't know. I think there's, oh my gosh, that's so loud. There's just no correlation between that. So I just think that there's no correlation. And that's what the stats showed. That's at least my opinion with it. Okay. Whether people disagree or not. And Bengals fans seem to disagree. But did they play good teams early? I mean, that.
Now you get into a whole nother, control point and things like that.
Exactly. Leroy, I know that it was a rough football weekend for me in particular. And I heard this question online, and I thought it was a good one as well. What is your best depression meal? So, like, when you're feeling down in the dumps, it's been a bad day, what is your meal that no matter what, it's going to make you happy?
2 double-decker taco supremes from Taco Bell. I am a simple man. I like going, and I if I'm really depressed, I eat it there because I know it's fresh and it's just made. Nothing against bringing it home. I like eating at home, but it's there's something about just opening up a taco that's brand new and it's been made. That's just. But yes, that is my go-to meal when I am feeling lousy or in the blues. I know when the Cubs made the World Series in 2016, every time they lost, I was making a beeline right for Taco Bell, like right afterwards, like seizing my tacos, lamenting over the fact that we were going to lose the series.
I mean, listen, Taco Bell's good. Taco Bell's good. I didn't know if you would have a depression.
I am, Caleb. They don't have one. They have one in Springfield, which is about 30 miles away.
Is there one in Bowling Green? I don't think so. Is there?
There was. I don't know if there is now.
Where was it?
It was over by.
Was it a KFC Long John Silver combo?
Yeah, I thought it was
no, or
it
it's a
wasn't.
Taco Bell Long John Silver. No, that's just where was Long John Silver in Bowling Green?
I'd have to look. I'm pretty, and maybe there wasn't one there, but I
Caleb.
swear there was one. Caleb.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. I'm gonna even have to Google this here as we're talking because I'm even trying to think where the closest one is to me because we have a Captain D's.
Oh, next to Judy's Castle. Yeah.
In BG, no. So it used to be there, I guess. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. See, it's
So
been
they
so
used to have
long.
one in Taylorville, and it's now an insurance place. They
That
still
checks
have
out.
the steps that go up, like the ramp that goes up in. They still have the ramp for the. It's like an insurance place now.
Interesting.
All right, you ready?
See, by my house growing up, and Caleb probably has been to this place if he likes Long John Silver's. It's a KFC Long John Silver combo.
Wonderful.
I thought they went out of business.
The
Nope,
one in
they did not.
Springfield. The one in Springfield got shut down for roaches. I think it just reopened recently, but
Checks out. That checks out.
it's just one of
That
those
checks
things.
out.
You're like, I'm
That
good
checks
for
out.
about a year after
Yeah.
that. Thank you very
It's
much.
like, I mean, listen, does anybody go to the Long John Silver's for a clean eating experience?
But here's the thing: there's so many restaurants where you're like, how are you guys staying in business? Like, who is
like the Waffle House?
Oh,
Listen,
whoa!
I love the Waffle House. But you're not going to the Waffle House and thinking this place got a 99 on their health inspection. You're not thinking that.
If it got a 99, I don't want to eat there.
Exactly. If your cook doesn't have a half-lit cigarette in his ear, then it's probably not going to taste good. If you don't get a little ashes, I mean, I know, some people get their hash browns covered and smothered. I get them a little bit of ashes on top. That's the way that you got to do it. Okay. I'm ready to answer.
Nicolas Cage is set to play John Madden in the next biopic or whatever the heck they're doing on Madden from his time when he was with the Raiders and obviously as a broadcaster. So I ask you, Sam Gormley, who would you want to play you in a movie about you?
For one, I am going to say John Goodman. Wasn't to me, isn't that the easy answer for John Madden? They at least look semi-similar. I know John Goodman's lost weight, but it's just like Nick Cage. And I don't mind Nick Cage. I don't know who would play me. How about Nicolas Cage? Nicolas Cage. Or I mean, listen, for me, Paul says Chris Farley. There is one problem with Chris Farley playing Madden. There is just a small problem for him. But you know what? How about I go with a guy that I look very similar with, and we are both from the state of Kentucky, George Clooney. We look very similar. We're both from Kentucky, and John says that you would be played by Peter Dinklage. Who would play you?
John Leguizamo.
Not Peter Dinklage?
So anyway, yeah.
I'm actually sticking in the movie question for you as well. Well, yeah, he probably does look the same as Madden now, considering they're both dead. Leroy, very simple question for you. In comment section, I'm interested in you chiming in as well. What is the best action movie of all time?
So I'm gonna get, as you would say on Reddit, I'm going to get downvoted to hell on this. But the best action movie is Delta Force with Chuck Norris in it. Chuck Norris goes and he rescues this group of people that have been hijacked on a terrorist plane. And at the very, very end, when they're getting the last terrorist, Chuck Norris is sitting on a motorcycle that has rocket launchers on the front of it. And the bad guy thinks he's gotten away. And Chuck Norris kind of just winks and presses a button and shoots off 2 rockets from the front of the motorcycle that are heat-seeking missiles.
You're giving away spoilers.
It's so over the top. It's so stupid. It's fantastic.
No, I don't. I've never seen Delta Force at all. Caleb's answer here of Michael Cera as me is not a bad one. It's not a bad one for me. Wee Man to play Leroy. I don't even think I know who Wee Man is. Should I know who Wee Man is?
You ever watch Jackass?
Okay.
That's Wee Man.
Okay, now I know Wee Man. Okay. He's 4 feet tall. You're a little taller than that, Leroy. You're a
Of
little
course I
taller
am.
than
These guys are
4 feet.
just jerks. Comment section's being mean tonight.
For me, I think The Dark Knight.
Great movie. Great movie.
The Dark Knight is probably my answer of the best action movie of all time.
I enjoyed the 80s action movies because the guns had 500 rounds of ammo without reloading. The death scenes were cheesy. The sequences were dorky. They were fantastic. But what's funny is if you look up, if you type into images and you type in Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, every single cover looks exactly the same. All his, I guarantee Jean-Claude Van Damme, if you asked him about a specific movie, he wouldn't be able to tell you because all his movies look exactly the same.
Shoot 'em up, shoot 'em up, shoot 'em up, right? That's all you really need. Just keep on shooting them up. You got any drivers this week, or are we?
We are doing something new this week. We're doing something new this week.
What about Predator?
Oh, that's true. Paul, you do make a good point. So we've got a new segment we're rolling out for Sam over the winter. Once we get a little bit closer to spring, we'll start up with drivers again, but we are taking a break from drivers because, quite frankly, we've exhausted almost all of them, and it's not fun anymore to give Sam the same drivers over and over again. So we are rolling out a new sequence, and basically what we've done is we've taken a logo, and we've gone. It's a professional. It's one of the top 4: MLB, NBA, NHL, and NFL, and we've zoomed in a whole lot. And all Sam has to do is tell me what team it is. Zoomed in.
You said it's MLB, NBA, NFL, or MLS?
No, NHL.
We said Big 4. Hey, they've been taking shots at you. I have to take at least one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd take at least one at you. Okay, let's see how this goes here. Do I have to just tell you the sport? You're all going to do hockey. And
I'll tell you the sport. You tell me what
now the question is how... Oh, you're telling me the sport?
I'll tell you the sport.
Oh, let me see if I can do it without it.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it this way here.
But you guys show me the comments because I can't see them.
Okay.
So this is close-up number 1.
Okay, are you using alternate logos?
This is their main logo.
Okay, well then I might need the sport because the alternate logo or the one that was coming to my mind wasn't coming in. Oh, you know what it is? I'm just the wrong city. I'm the right city, but the wrong sport, I bet. Is it NHL?
Okay. It is the NHL.
Mm-hmm. So I was thinking Pirates, but I'm the wrong city, aren't I? Or the wrong team in that city, right?
You are. Holy cow, you are.
So Paul, it's a zoomed in logo that I have to say who it is. So yeah, it's I don't even want to tell him. It's my mom's favorite animal.
Yeah, good.
I do. The black and gold is what helps a little bit.
Yep. That's what this game is. So we're gonna have a close-up logo, and Sam has to tell me what team it is.
So yeah,
I'll give him a hint if he wants for the league. So if he's stuck on like what it is, I'll give him that. But yeah.
Okay, let's go to this next one here.
All right. Let's go to the next one here because this is being stupid.
I can see the two, and I already know these two. Tampa Bay Rays.
Good.
Or I guess it's Tampa Ray. Or no, I guess they're Tampa Bay, and I already know this one. Phoenix Suns.
Wow, that was too easy. We gotta make them harder next time.
Yeah, I was gonna say those two I actually can do. I mean, hockey is where you'd throw me off because I don't know those as well. But baseball and NFL, I feel pretty confident that I'd be able to get this.
All right. Well, that's our game. Again, a little bit easier this week as we try to figure out what's too hard and what's too easy. But we'll get there, and we'll try again next week.
All righty. How about we...
We're taking a little break from drivers. We'll have drivers come again in 2025.
Which is not that far away. Not that far away at all. Speaking of not that far away, we have got now our pick contest. America, it is your turn to come in. You've got some catching up to do. Leroy has a 1-point advantage in the pick contest overall. 14-13-10. America is in third place there with 10 points. It is week number 4. Again, it is this simple for America. You have to pick, and the majority is which way we will put you in this single week. We will start it off, though, Leroy. You will pick, and America will not pick this game. This is just you all. Paul, we are going. We have our flight and everything. I know we are looking at tickets as well. Let's message me early next week, and let's talk, because I think we're looking at tickets next week. Grayson County, though, Leroy at 2-1 travels to rival Butler County at 0-3 in Morgantown this week. Leroy, you are the only one picking this game. America, if you want to, you can. You don't get any questions because you are through 3 weeks. Leroy, are you picking Grayson County or Butler County?
Grayson, hands down, man.
Grayson County is Leroy's pick.
The thing is, if Butler was 3-0, I still would have picked Grayson County in this one. So
let's talk, Paul. I think I'm doing something with Mick. It's something we got to talk about. John's taking Grayson as well. America, you can pick this if you want. Leroy, set up your game.
So it's homecoming week. Taylorville comes back home after 1-1, picking up their first win of the season. Week 1, Taylorville probably should have won. They went in there expecting an easy game. The other team gave them all they could and ended up beating them fairly easily. But Taylorville answered back with a 34-0 win over Robinson. They come home now to take on Columbia for their homecoming. And we played Columbia last year and picked. Well,
that'll be my one question to you is going to be that. So what was the final score last year? Because I get one question for you.
15-0. Columbia finished last season 2-7, 1-4 in their conference.
So Taylorville won last year?
15-0.
Okay. I'm going to pick. So America, you get this pick as well. I'm picking Taylorville. It's homecoming. I feel pretty good about that. So America, if you want to drop in there and make a pick as well, you can do so. John is saying Taylorville. Paul, if you'd like to have a pick as well, you can. Or we could just stick with John's of picking Taylorville against Columbia. Are they the Lions?
I believe so. Yeah, hold on.
I know that's the college. But yeah, Paul, to answer your question, let's shoot me a message early next week. I know Mick and I are going to talk this weekend. We're traveling, and I think the hotel room is something that we're talking about this week.
Eagles. They're the Columbia Eagles.
Taylorville is America's pick.
They're currently 1-1 on the season.
Leroy will kick us off as we keep on rolling. Kentucky hosts number 1 Georgia.
Sam, if y'all would have at least tried last week, I might have entertained the thought, but there's no way. Georgia all day long.
No, you wouldn't have. Georgia, by God. I just hope they have fun.
I just want both teams to have fun.
Yes, because Georgia, yeah. I already logged your pick for Georgia, because if you all want to pick Kentucky, you can. But nope. Not confident even in the least. Northwestern hosts Eastern Illinois. I have the pick for this one, Leroy, and I do believe the last time Northwestern faced Eastern Illinois, it was Eastern Illinois that won the game.
It was.
But I'm going to take Northwestern this time. So Northwestern hosts Eastern Illinois. Will Leroy pick Eastern Illinois?
I swear to God. I'm telling you right now.
Who will he pick?
I won't watch another game the rest of the year. I know we joke about that kind of stuff, but I'm going to be so mad if they blow this game. Northwestern, please. It's a home game for the love of
Don is picking Eastern Illinois, and Paul is picking Eastern Illinois. So Eastern Illinois is America's pick. I swear if they're right. If they are right. Speaking of big rivalry games, I will pick first you pick first, Leroy, for Western Kentucky at Middle Tennessee State. It's the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry, and I believe, Leroy, we are both going to be in agreement here.
Listen, MTSU has a special place in my heart, all the way in hell. Go freaking Tops.
Yeah, Western's going to beat Middle Tennessee. Not a surprise with this pick whatsoever. Paul is going to take Middle Tennessee State. And let's see if John will also pick Middle Tennessee State, if they're just going to try and go against us every single time. West side, best side. Oh, so we have a tie. So that means since it's a tie, Leroy, we have picked Western. So that means that Western will be the pick for America in the comments section. Oh, that sounded so weird in that. That was like you talked into Optimus Prime when you did that. Bengals, Leroy, travel to the Chiefs. Bengals travel to the Chiefs. Leroy,
Chiefs.
who you got?
Chiefs, man. You poor man.
I'm picking the Chiefs, but the Bengals cover.
Bengals cover. What's the spread?
6.
Okay.
Which is strong. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes have played 4 times. All 4 of those games have been decided by 3 points. And America, not surprisingly, is going with the Chiefs. On Sunday Night Football, the Bears travel to the Texans. Leroy, I'll pick first in this one. Since Grayson County is playing Butler County this week, and Butler County is the Bears, I can't, on good authority as the voice of the Cougs, pick the Bears to win this game. I know you understand, so I'm picking the Texans. I would be run out of Grayson County if I say anything about picking the Bears. So I'm picking the Texans.
That's fine.
John is picking Houston. Who you got, Leroy?
Caleb Williams actually pretends to be a quarterback this week, and the Bears pick up another fourth quarter comeback win and pick up the win.
All righty. So, Paul, if you pick the Bears, I mean, listen, I'm just going to go ahead and put Houston. There's no shot Paul's picking. Yeah, I was going to say, I said it to myself, and then I was like, wait a second. I know myself better than that. Paul is not picking the Bears. Does Caleb pass for 93 yards?
Does John ever stop being a dick? Find out more in the future.
Yeah, there's your question. Which happens first? John stops being a dick, or Caleb passes for more than 93 yards?
The world may never know.
Leroy, you get to pick your game of the week first here as we jump into this portion of the segment. Who you got first?
Number 20, Arizona. Number 20, Arizona heads into Kansas State. Take on I spoiled it. Number 20, Arizona versus number 14, Kansas State.
I'm going to take Kansas State in this matchup, going with the Wildcats. But I do feel very confident the Wildcats will win. Very confident.
Very good. You don't ever think of Arizona as a football school.
They were good last year, though.
I know. I know, but it's just one of those
Rob
things
Gronkowski.
There's certain schools where you expect them to be basketball schools. Mm-hmm. You know, I think, you know, or vice versa, right? Like you don't think about, you know, like Michigan State basketball school, right? You don't ever think of like Michigan State football. But Arizona is another one of those where you expect them to be a really good basketball program. But they are very good at baseball, Paul.
In fact, their coach is what is his name? It's a former MLB manager. Arizona baseball in Arizona. Let's see. I'm going to talk. Who are you picking while I look this up?
I'm going to go with I'll go with Kansas State, but I think this is going to be a much closer game than what is expected. Now, we say all this. Hurricane Francine may throw wrenches into all of these games that are taking place here.
Chip Hale, remember him?
Oh yeah, Chip. Yes.
Paul, do you have a pick for Arizona at Kansas State? Who did you pick? You picked Kansas State?
I did, yes.
Okay, Kansas State. John has picked Arizona. So Paul can take Arizona if he wants, or he can pick Kansas State. He's picking Kansas State, so that means Kansas State will be America's pick this week. My first pick, I'm going to have some fun with this one, Leroy. In the game that I know everybody is super excited about, the New York Football Giants travel to face the Washington Commanders. Leroy, Giants or Commanders? Who you got? Commanders, and I agree. Commanders win the game since it's in Washington. Commanders. John says Commanders easy. which means that Commanders will be the pick because if Paul goes against it, it goes to the tiebreaker. Okay, your second pick of the week, Leroy.
Well, since we're going with awful football games, we're going to head to Tennessee to go watch the Jets play Tennessee on Sunday at noon. So that's the pick. Jets versus Titans, Sunday at noon.
And it's in Nashville?
It is in Nashville, yes. So, again, tentatively.
Aaron Rodgers comes away with a win there on the road. So I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
There's some really intriguing NFL games this week. Somebody else had that the Buccaneers Lions might be that might be a big game to watch as far as upsets go. There's a few of these that I'm kind of intrigued with.
Paul's taking the Jets. Who you got, Leroy?
I will go with the Titans.
Going different. I respect it. Our final game of the week, we're going to go back to the college game as LSU travels to South Carolina. College game day will be there. South Carolina. Something happened last weekend. I don't really remember what happened to them in football. They won. I don't really remember. The details aren't important, Leroy.
Oh, they beat Kentucky. That's what happened.
And Leroy's muted. Can you unmute yourself, or do I have the full power to keep you completely muted? You cannot unmute yourself. Interesting. So I do have the power to keep you completely muted. Interesting. But now you mute yourself on your end and see if I can unmute you.
I can. Yes. Hold on.
Okay. I want to see if I have the power to unmute you. No. Okay. I cannot. Interesting. There we go. It's such great podcasting, isn't it? John is taking South Carolina. Leroy, who do you have?
See, I was going to take South Carolina too with the upset.
I have LSU by 50. LSU by 50 to win that game. John picks South Carolina. Paul, who do you have? If you pick South Carolina, that will be the pick. If not, we will go into the coin toss. Dum, dum, dum. The coin toss. Could be an interesting game. Leroy, since I made my pick, did I make the correct pick predicting Taylorville?
Yeah, Taylorville should crush them.
Okay. Grayson County should win against Butler County. The rain does have me a little bit concerned.
And listen, I know we joke, but it's the same thing for us. Like we are expecting, I'm telling you guys, college, there's racing that's supposed to take place in Nashville this weekend too. There's a ton of stuff that's going on. Keep an eye if you are betting, if you are big in betting, keep an eye on these sports games that are taking place this weekend. You could see a lot of delays and a lot of weird situations on this stuff.
Okay, we got to flip a coin, Leroy. Which is which?
I got it. All right, hold on. I'm going to
so
do a regular.
How about
here, okay?
How about this? LSU is the road team, so they will be heads.
Okay.
And LSU South Carolina will be tails.
South Carolina is our Minnesota tails.
Okay. Flip the coin, Leroy, and let's see what America will pick.
It is tails.
So they're picking South Carolina. So I'm the only one going with the road team of LSU. To recap our picks.
That could be a big thing for you.
It could. Leroy, you went with Grayson County against Butler County. America and myself went with Taylorville. Unanimous, Georgia against Kentucky. Leroy and I went with Northwestern against Eastern Illinois. America went with Eastern Illinois. Unanimously, we went with WKU. Unanimously with the Chiefs. Myself and America went with the Texans. Leroy was the homer and went with the Bears. Leroy and America went with South Carolina. I went with LSU. Yeah, Paul, you did say LSU, but we flipped the coin because John said South Side. So we had to flip the coin, and I'm with you. I'm with you. Kansas State, we were all unanimous. Commanders, we were unanimous. And Leroy went with the Titans instead of the Jets, where the rest of us went with the Jets. Yeah. And then I know we wanted to say too, and Paul, we're definitely thinking of you this week. I know we can't. Neither one of us can imagine what you've been going through over this last week. We're both here for you in any way that we can be. And I know we definitely, yeah. If I didn't have the headphones on, I would take this off. But our show today is dedicated in your father's honor for sure today, and we hope you're doing okay because I can't imagine what you're going through.
moment of silence for Paul and for your dad and for everything that you're going through. We love you, man. Here.
Yeah.
Here.
Hey, man. We hope you're doing okay, and we'd if I could on Friday, I would go play 18 holes of golf because it sounds like that's how he would want to spend it. Because listen, you gotta love playing some golf, and I hope you're doing okay, and we're with you if we can help in any ways because we appreciate everything you've done for us as well.
Today is also the anniversary of September 11th, and we remember all those who sacrificed their lives on not only 9/11 but during the wars afterwards and all the stuff that went on. All the men and women who fought overseas in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all of that stuff. Listen, it doesn't matter whether or not you think it's all a big conspiracy, whether or not you think it's dumb, whether or not you are for it or against it. The fact of the matter is that we did go to war for a very long time, most likely because of it. So, again, our thoughts and prayers to families that have dealt with that and dealt with the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks as well.
Yeah, I mean that's one of my earliest memories.
Is it?
I mean, and I'm not saying this as my, oh, you're so old and I'm so young. But I was 4.5.
Yeah.
And I have just ever so slight, and I mean, you got to think 4.5. I mean, what can you remember? I have ever so slight of a memory of watching on the TV at my babysitter's one of the planes fly in. That's my only memory from the entire day. And that's the craziest thing is and I've had this discussion with people, is anyone younger than me doesn't remember it. Anyone younger than me does not remember it happening.
Yeah.
And how were you in college?
I was a freshman in college, and it was a Tuesday. So Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I had early classes. Tuesday and Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I had early classes. Tuesday, Thursday, I had late classes. So I was asleep when everything happened. I got woken up by footsteps down the hallway, and there was one TV in the barrack or in the dorm. Only one guy had a TV, and it was a guy that was like my age.
Which is just so funny to think. Only one TV in the dorm,
Yeah. And it was a guy that was like my age now, like a guy that was in his 40s who went to school. And he had brought his like 18-inch TV and was had it all set up, and we all crowded around. He had a couch and everything, and we all sat down and watched as the second building fell. I missed the whole first stuff and everything, but watched as the second building fell. And then I remember being really upset because we still had classes that day. And I was just lazy, so I was irritated that we still had to go. There's no reason we should go to school when America's under attack. And my dad, Dave Climola, messaging me and going, "Don't you dare enlist in the Army, Leroy." That was the other thing that I got right away was, "Don't you dare enlist in the Army." Joke's on him.
And just to think, if he would have never said that, you probably would have never enlisted. You would have never gone to Western Kentucky. You would have never met us. You would never have, From the Pressbox would never exist.
Crazy to think about. But yeah.
From the Pressbox would never exist.
Bizarre stuff. But yeah,
the world would have been a better place if this podcast did not exist, probably.
That was my 9/11.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I was 4.5. You would have never tore your shoulder up.
Oh, Paul's right.
So it's your dad's fault.
It's my dad's fault. Thanks, Dad.
So your dad is to blame for From the Pressbox. Oh, your dad. Is he enjoying his Facebook?
He is. I'll just have to see how much longer he gets to keep it. But yes.
What do you think about the debate? Do you have some opinions on it?
I haven't talked to him yet. I really
something tells me that he liked candidate A more than candidate B.
Or the candidate B.
Am I right on saying that your dad?
I would venture to say that you were probably pretty accurate.
But see, and the craziest thing is he's actually going to vote for candidate B. It's wild. Oh, Paul, Leroy's dad is in Facebook jail more than O.J. Simpson has spent time in jail.
Yeah, he's probably Rosalini, Rosie. He probably is in jail more than Rosie is. If that tells you anything.
I would say more than like, I'm trying to think of somebody else who was in Facebook jail a lot. Miracle. May God rest his soul.
Jail a lot.
He was. You had Jay Maledick, who has like 95 profiles because of it. But luckily, your dad, he takes his sentence to heart.
He does.
He does. He does his 30 days.
He's a good man.
But as soon as those 30 days are over,
you know it.
Does he learn his lesson? No, he does not. Oh, I hope he goes back and watches this. Does he watch the podcast?
Not really. And I get kind of irritated that he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. What kind of father? Does your mother watch it? No. Your mother's a saint, though, so I can't be mad at her.
Yeah. Well, there's just too much sports. It's too much sports for her.
What? I mean, what does she want us to talk about? Does she want us to break down the debate from last night? Because I sure as heck don't want to do that.
I don't have a good answer.
I have a good call this week, though.
Thank you.
I've got a college game Saturday as well. So what do you think? Center takes on the Maryville Scots, 2 1-0 teams. This is not a pick for the pick contest. You got Center, you got Maryville.
I'll go with Maryville.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I'm still a little early in my prep.
Speaking of like weird stuff, did you see Shohei versus Shota?
No.
So Shota faced off against, obviously Shohei led off. And Shohei gets into the box and kind of takes his cap or his helmet and tips it. And Shota like bows graciously. And it was weird Japanese respect between the two. And just, I don't know. I just thought it was really, really cool to see two. Shota's had a great year this year. Shohei obviously is Shohei, but fantastic respect from those two.
Baseball.
Paul, I could use your Braves to lose a couple games if you don't mind, so that the Cubs can sneak into the playoffs.
You do know that the Reds helped you out there because they finished off the sweep of the Braves on Monday.
I did.
Because the Reds won 3 games in 3 days in 3 different cities for the first time in franchise history.
That's insane. Yeah, the standings are getting really, really close as we get a little bit closer to these. The Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers obviously are on top of the divisions, but Diamondbacks, Padres, Mets, Braves, and Cubs are all within like 5 games of each other.
The Reds, I know it came out today, have a 2% chance of making the playoffs. I love that somebody had to drop in the GIF of Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance. Which, if we're talking comedy movies, that's a great comedy movie. I mean, listen, that's one of those you could pop on and laugh, however many times you've seen it.
Well, Dodgers lead the Cubs literally at this minute 7-3. So.
Yeah, you got to keep. So I guess, the Braves aren't even in the playoffs right now. I'm not sure I realized that. Cubs 4.5 out. Yeah.
Braves are a game out. It'd be the Diamondbacks, Padres, and Mets right now. Diamondbacks, Padres, Mets right now which the Mets don't belong.
I do appreciate that. When we dive into this as well, that 3 teams in MLB baseball are in the National League are plus run differential and not in the playoffs. Braves, Cubs, Reds. Good job, guys. Look at us go. Braves, Cubs, and the Reds.
Next Wednesday, we could legit be talking about the White Sox breaking the all-time record for most losses of a modern-day team, which, again, I know we joke
their
lot
run differential. Here. Their run differential, minus 311.
Oh, my goodness.
To put things into perspective, Leroy, the next lowest, the Rockies, minus 228.
But like, I don't know if I have an easy. I don't know if there's an easy answer for this, but like, why are they so bad? This is a team that made the playoffs like 4 years ago.
How's Jacob doing?
We don't talk about the White Sox much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does he have an NFL team?
He's a Packers fan.
Oh,
yeah.
Jordan Love. We didn't mention him. He did get hurt.
I don't need to talk about the Packers
because
whoever their backup is going to throw for like 450 yards in
Malik
the game.
Willis.
Yes, and Packers are going to Malik Willis, who lost his job to Will Levis. But it's going to go into Green Bay and be 35 for 42 and 350 yards.
When do they play the Bears? When do they play the Bears?
Late. Like
I was going to say
like week 13.
I was waiting for him. He's going to throw for 475.
I already know it.
4 touchdowns, rushing for another, and that game Caleb Williams will throw like 4 picks.
And I haven't said anything about this whole Love fiasco because I've seen it too many times, Sam. The Packers will bring in some no-name guy, and the Packers are really good at their quarterback situation. They just are. But they will somehow make this guy.
How much did that hurt to say?
A lot. But they are. They are very good at whatever they got going on in that quarterback situation. That I can't even get excited for Love to be out because I already know that the next guy up is going to be just as good. Now I'm with Paul. I absolutely like. Will's not throwing much. It'll be more than. Piss off, but it'll be one of those.
I thought you were with him on that time.
But it is one of those things where it's like just once I would like to see that team have a rough season. No, I don't like, and that was the whole other big thing. Well, we don't want to wish injury on the other players. Listen, man, I ain't wishing injury on them, but I'm not going to freaking sit there and be all sad that your quarterback's out of the game after he signed a huge extension. He going to be okay. He making a bunch of money to sit down and rehab. He's going to be okay.
Breaking. So, no, Leroy wishing injuries on Packers.
No, but I think it's absolutely stupid that listen, man, it's not like I sit here and wish for people to get hurt. But at the end of the day, if it helps Chicago, I'm all for it. You can't tell me that you wouldn't enjoy it if every Steelers player just all of a sudden hurt their knee.
I mean, I wouldn't be that upset, but except Larry Ogunjobi, he's a former Bengal. He's okay. TJ Watt, though, yeah, no, I mean, it's hard because, I mean, the biggest thing is it's like, you have these players in the NFL, and honestly, you can say the Green Bay quarterback position, where they're like Iron Men.
They've just figured it out. I don't know what it is, but they have just absolutely.
Because I mean,
they are able to pull.
Aaron Rodgers rarely missed a start. Brett Favre, did he ever miss a start?
I think he had one season where he was kind of banged up a little bit, but he still went out there and torched Chicago.
Favre, is he in jail yet?
No.
Keyword though. Does he go to jail? Do you think he does? He just has to pay a huge fine or something like that, and they'll say, Paul says Brett Favre is the toughest quarterback of all time. Buy or sell?
Bro, it's pretty tough. And we joke about it at the high school level. You see these kids that just get absolutely just demolished, and you expect them to just late, and they pop right back up, and it's like, bro, how are you getting up? You just got hit by a 300-pound guy. How are you getting back up? So it's just frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating to see your rivals do so well year after year after year of finding success where, in all seriousness, on paper, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be finding success. Yet, guess what? They are. And it just...
Tell us how you really feel.
So no, I am not lamenting over Jordan Love being out of the darn game. Boy, I'm sure his whatever money he's going to make over the next year, I think he's going to be all right. It'd be nice to see them just suck for a couple games.
Next week, we'll be back. More NFL, more MLB playoffs, more NCAA to talk about. Luckily, this is the time of year, Leroy, where we don't necessarily have to come up with topics.
We don't have to show prep. We don't have to show prep at all. Just kind of go. By the way, seeing Rodgers, nice seeing Rodgers lose to the 49ers again. I'm not even a 49ers fan. Just enjoyed that game. It was a very good game. Because Jets gonna jet.
You and those Packers. Listen, I'm over here. I hope all these NFL teams have fun. I hope nothing negative happens to any of them. And look at you, Mr. over here. Zach Moss going to do something, Sam. You got a touchdown from him over the weekend.
I owe you. Because I did switch them out.
And
the other guy had like 5 points, and Moss had like
12, probably.
14, I think. Yeah.
You're welcome. Is he going to do something, Paul? No. Bengals running backs, that's just not what they are. I think in 6 weeks, Chase Brown will be an okay option because they're going to use him more as a receiving back, especially if your league's PPR. But I would not start Zach Moss. Like, I think in my league that has a bunch of Bengals fans in it, it would not shock me if he is a free agent. It's standard, well, then I don't know that I'd stay away from any of them. If it's PPR, I think Chase Brown would be a legitimate candidate, but as far as regular, I'd stay away from both of them. And that's me coming as a Bengals fan. Hurts just a little bit to say that.
Boy, I tell you what, Chicago's running back situation is awful.
I have Jameson Williams. I'm absolutely starting Jameson Williams over Zach Moss.
Oh, yeah.
Without question. Yeah, I'm starting Jameson Williams.
Williams has to,
I'm starting Jameson Williams this week. Over Zamir White from Oakland, Las Vegas. 100%. And over the San Diego Chargers and over the St. Louis Rams. So it's just, and the, what do we got here? Who else? The Baltimore Colts, too. Their thing. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of all of the Houston Texans or the Houston Oilers.
Yeah. Decatur Staleys, I got you.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you next week. Paul, we're thinking about you this week. I hope it all goes as well as possible. Yeah, you had the Tennessee Oilers too. They were a thing for a while.
That's right. They were.
The Memphis Oilers, though, technically, because they played. Remember that, like 1 year.
The
Memphis
weird year where they played. Yeah,
but nobody went. I mean, why would anyone want to go to Memphis, though?
That's a good point.
Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Yes.